The timeless design of nature, the poetry of convergent evolution. A strange pattern that defies ancestry and mocks time appears in the immense theater of existence, where creatures rise and fall like waves against the shore. It is the phenomenon known as convergent evolution, in which nature shapes dissimilar species into very similar forms under the guidance of necessity's invisible hand. It is a whisper, a refrain in the music of life, that the same problems will always have the same answers. The crocodile of eternity, the crocodile lurks there, hiding beneath the calm waters. For hundreds of millions of years, it has not altered. It is a holdover from a bygone era that has been perfectly adapted to the present. It is a master of patience and a freshwater predator that doesn't need to chase. Its weapon, its haven, its trap is the river. Its long, thin muzzle is not a coincidence. Rather, it is a precise feature that enables the ideal blow to be delivered in a heartbeat. However, if you delve further into the past, you will discover another, Prionosuchus, a terrifying Permian amphibian. It also resembled a crocodile, but it lived in an unimaginable period of time. Why? Because such a shape is required by the river. Because ambush requires this kind of silence. Evolution sculpts in response to the environment. Further back, beyond Prionosuchus, were other species whose very shapes hinted at survival and ambush. The ferocious predators that would emerge later probably looked a lot like the first tetrapods, those trailblazing creatures who first scrambled onto land. Nature painted the picture of survival in the sands of time by tracing the same silhouette in many forms. The deep dance, another shape dominates the immense blue emptiness of the waters. For more than 300 million years, the shark's streamlined, torpedo-like form has ruled the seas, demonstrating the design's unwavering strength. However, sharks are not the only creatures in this field. In their respective eras, mosasaurs, ichthyosaurs, and dolphins all had the same streamlined silhouette and dorsal fin that cut through the ocean. Despite not being related, they were subject to the same laws. The sea required efficiency regardless of ancestry. Thus, mammals, fish, and reptiles all complied. Mosasaurs, who were once the undeniable kings of the ocean, were not marine creatures. They were distant relatives of terrestrial creatures known as monitor lizards, who responded to the call of the waves by changing their shape in order to overcome them. Early whales originated from land-walking ancestors, just as their predecessors, the ichthyosaurs, had. A primordial whale, Dorudon, had the markings of transition, a body that was neither totally of the water nor fully of the land, with fins where the hind legs had been. We can still observe remnants of this significant change today. Originally terrestrial reptiles, sea snakes have completely evolved to life in the ocean, with their lungs developing to hold enormous amounts of air and their bodies becoming more streamlined. Formerly soaring through the skies, penguins now navigate the seas as effectively as fish. Nature continues to play the same tune, with just minor note changes. The Time Wings convergent stories are not often told in terms of only flesh and bone. When war first began to sweep throughout the skies in the early days of aviation, countries on different sides of the conflict came up with the same solution to a single issue. Like nature itself, humans came up with the perfect solution since the sky, like the sea, deserved an ideal form. However, nature had already mastered the ability of flight numerous times before humans used machinery to conquer the air. Because of their fragile wings, which enable them to hover and flutter, insects were the first to take to the air. Then came birds with their hollow bones and lift-enhancing feathers. Then came the mammals. Bats, the only mammals that can actually fly, developed wings from their predecessors' fingers, which resembled the elongated limbs of pterosaurs. Despite being millions of years apart, these species had the same goal and contributed their own chapters to the epic story of the sky. What about those who glide instead of fly? Despite coming from separate branches of the evolutionary tree, colugos, flying squirrels, and sugar gliders have all evolved the same solution: flaps of skin stretched between their limbs that enable them to sail in the air. The inventiveness of nature is limitless and impartial. Echoes of the future, shadows of the past. The narrative is the same for insects, birds, mammals, and marsupials. Despite being separated by millions of years, sugar gliders and flying squirrels are both obliged to glide through the canopy. Although they burrow in various places, moles and marsupial moles wear the same armor of adaptation. People are shaped by their surroundings and adopt the shapes that are determined by need, much like clay in the hands of a sculptor. What would happen if 90% of all species disappeared into oblivion tomorrow, and life as we know it would cease to exist? Would new animals appear with eerily familiar forms? Or would the world be completely different? The same answers will surface if the same circumstances persist. Nature is not arbitrary. It is a skilled musician who uses the same notes to create melodies of life that are the same even when performed on various instruments. There might even be another creature on the planet that is similar to us. What might have been is hinted at by the Archicebus, a lemur that formerly had an ape-like shape. Would it have spoken if it hadn't disappeared, if time had let it grow? And might another species emerge to replace humankind if it vanished into the echoes of time? With their extraordinary brain and agile limbs, may octopuses pave the way for dominance? Could birds, who already possess problem-solving abilities on par with primates, end up creating a whole new world? Who is to say that nature wouldn't shape them into something familiar, uncannily similar to ourselves, if the right circumstances come together and the same forces of evolution act upon them? The cosmos is not a mindless creator. It perfects, repeats, and refines. As a result, even if the actors switch, the stage stays the same, the roles are practiced, and the play is performed again. Because the performance is timeless in the great theater of evolution. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more interesting videos.